All right, here we are. It's finally time, Zach, to talk about the NFC East. I know you're really excited, and doing a deep dive for me in the last day or two, I've seen that I think if the Eagles don't win this division, it's going to be a massive, massive disappointment. This is Pastor Rob.
Hey yo, could one of y'all pass the gosh darn rock? Hey yo, I'm trying, I ain't lying, and hosting this will be Brian.
Yeah.
Posting like Kobe Bryant,
Yeah.
flying to see the pie.
Yeah.
Hit the hezzy, we got Jesse, opinions get kinda messy. A fan of out of lefties, from football to racing jackies. He go silly when he go deep, sheesh, is Zach Zeman. Teaming up with Jack, we stack the whole team, man. Pass the rock, don't stop the shot clock.
Ooh.
Smack the slap shot, come on, now let's talk. Pass the, yo partner, pass the rock, for real.
All right, Zach, lay it on us. NFC East, let's get right to it. Rank the teams 1 through 4 in 2024.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the tried and true ranking of the NFC East. And for me, because the Cowboys won the division last year, it means they can't win again because this division has not had a repeat winner since the Eagles did it from 2001 to 2004. So I'm going to go with the Eagles first, the Cowboys second, the Commanders third, and the Giants fourth.
All right, Jesse, rank the teams in the NFC East in 2024.
I'm going Philly 1, Dallas 2, unfortunately, Washington 3, and the Giants in dead last.
Yeah, I think it's easy. I think it's Eagles, Commanders, Cowboys, Giants. I don't see this Dallas team on paper just disappoints me all over the offensive side, the offensive line, the running back room, the wide receiver room, other than CD. And Dak, I think, is going to be a huge disappointment. It wouldn't actually shock me if it went total disarray. They ended up fourth, and the Giants, figured out how to squeak in, 6 wins over their 5. I don't like this Dallas team at all. I think the defensive issues are going to be more exploited this year than even they were last year towards the end of the season. And this is not coming from an Eagles fan. This is just a person who really, really doesn't like the Cowboys. Zach, your thoughts?
Yeah, I know you're concerned about their defense. I'm concerned about their offensive production. I feel like, their biggest strength on offense for years has been their productivity in the trenches. They've always had an elite offensive line, and we've seen that kind of start to go away over the past couple of seasons. So without that, the run game is going to be especially difficult to really get going. With Ezekiel Elliott coming back, it's not really a move that impressed me. Outside of CeeDee Lamb, I have no idea who Dak is throwing to. Maybe you got Turpin as well, but those two shouldn't be your biggest name receivers. It should be Lamb and then actual other star receiver. This Dallas team, the only reason I'm picking them second is because of Dallas bullshit that happens every single year. They just find a way to be somewhat competitive in the league, but this is not a Super Bowl caliber team. I think you can make an argument, maybe not a winning one, but you can make an argument for the Eagles being on that level. You can't make that for the Cowboys for the first time in a couple of years. I feel like they were at that level. They're not at that level this year.
All right, Jesse, quick bonus question. Are the Eagles in the top 5 of the NFL, a true Super Bowl contender?
No, I wouldn't put them there. I think that they're probably in the top 5 of the NFC, but I don't think they're in the top 5 in the NFL.
Yeah, I think it's tough. I mean, it's 49ers, Lions. Now, the Lions could totally back down and go back to being the Lions again. Jared Goff could show us who he really is. But I don't see the Eagles as a top 5 team in the NFL right now either, but we'll talk more about that. Over under 1.5 playoff teams from the NFC East. Jesse.
I'm taking the under. I think it's just going to be Philly. I think Dallas is going to crash and burn this season. Last season, they were in the playoffs, embarrassing way out, and I just think they're not even going to get there this year. I'm going to say Philly wins the division. I think that Dallas probably has a 9 or 10 win season, but it's just not enough to get in. I think there's going to be at least 2, maybe 3 teams from the North, 2 teams from the West, maybe 2 from the South, but most likely 1. And I just don't think that there's room for Dallas anymore. I think that, losing a lot of their offense on the offensive line, a lot of the weapons, the defense didn't get better. They had a very quiet offseason. I just don't see it for Dallas this year. I'm going to say under.
Zach?
As much as I hate the Dallas Cowboys, I hate them more than almost any other team in sports. They're right up there with the New York Mets. I still think this is over. I think Dallas is going to be able to figure it out just because they always find a way, whether it's through just finding the right plays at the right time, or just the high end talent bailing them out, or just dumb luck, which honestly sometimes does just go certain teams' ways. I think they can still sneak into a lower wild card spot. As dreadful as this team looks on paper, I think they can still make a wild card spot.
So I disagree with you, Zach. I think you're going to really see what you want to see, which is a total Cowboy implosion. I think Jerry Jones's head might explode as part of that, and there's only going to be one team that makes it. It's going to be the Eagles. I think two teams get in from the West, two teams get in from the North, and two teams get in from the South, and that's not me being a homer. I just think that in the end, the NFC South has to play themselves over and over again, and the AFC West, which other than Kansas City isn't super impressive. So I think two of those teams get in as well, and Dallas is left in third place behind the Washington Commanders, which we'll talk about in a second. So rank the starting quarterback in the NFC East over the next 5 years. So you have four. You have Prescott, you have Hurts, you have Danny Dimes, and you have Jaden Daniels. Give me, who do you want in the next 5 years, 1 to 4? Jess.
Ooh, okay. So, all right. It's definitely Hurts 1. He's the only one in this group that's been to the Super Bowl, and he played phenomenally in it. So I'm going to say it's still Hurts 1. Dak 2 for me. He's still only 30. And a lot of quarterbacks hit their prime and, have a very good, time in their early 30s. So for the next 5 years, age 30 to 35, I still think Dak is a top 10 guy in the league. And I can't say the same for any of the other two here. Then I'd put Jaden Daniels next. I want to see what he has. I think Daniel Jones, you've kind of had 5 years to look at him. Yes, he hasn't had that much help on the Giants, but I just have never really seen it with Daniel Dimes. I thought it was a reach when they drafted him. I still think he's just not the guy. I just don't see it. He just doesn't have it. Jaden Daniels, who knows? But then I'm putting Daniel Jones last, 100%.
Zach?
Okay. I think there's an interesting way you can look at this. If you look at this based on how they will do in the NFC East itself, there is a non-zero chance that Dak Prescott will no longer be in the NFC East next year because his contract is expiring after this season. Although I do think that Jerry's going to keep his golden boy in town. So if I was looking at it based off of if Dak leaves, Jaden Daniels is number 2 for me. But considering that, they're not just going to let Dak walk. There's no way that happens. I have the exact same ranking as Jesse. Going Hurts number 1. He's entering his prime years. He's extended through, I think, his age 29-30 season. We're going to see a lot of good play out of him over the next couple of years. Dak is still the second best quarterback in this division. Easily, both of them, both Hurts and Dak, are top 10 quarterbacks in the NFL today. And then third, I think you have more potential with Jaden Daniels than you do with Danny Dimes. I know Jesse said he might not have had any help. Daniel Jones is not a player that can elevate a franchise. I think you can say that about Hurts. I think you can say that about Dak. And we'll see if we can say that about Jaden Daniels. I think there's a real possibility he could be that type of player. It is not that way for Danny Derps.
All right. I have a wildly different ranking than the two of you. Number 4 is Dak Prescott. What has he shown us in any big game that makes you want to say, I'm going to commit to 5 years of this guy? Nothing. Even Daniel Jones has won a playoff game in the last 2 years. All right. Now, do I think Daniel Jones is unbelievable and that he's like my dream quarterback? No, he's got a ton of issues. I don't know if he's smart enough with NFL defenses to really get it done, but I would love to see him with some weapons, and he's not getting them this year other than Malik Neighbors. But I'm putting him third. I'm putting Jalen Hurts second, and I'm putting Jaden Daniels first. Now, you're going to say, oh, you're an LSU guy. He's an LSU guy. It's not about that. I think Jalen Hurts really got figured out last year, and I'm so interested to see how he bounces back in 2024 because it was not good. And I think he's going way down in the rankings as far as fantasy goes if he doesn't get all those 1-yard touchdowns, which I don't think he'll get this year with Saquon in town. And I'm really interested to see how he bounces back. I think Jaden Daniels is the guy I want in the next 5 years, even more than Jalen Hurts. Thoughts?
I think there's definitely a case to be made, but you're really banking on upside there. And my main concerns with Jaden Daniels is nothing to do with the player itself. It's the organization he's around and the field that he's playing on, which is infamous for injuries. I really think the sky is the limit for Jaden Daniels. He could end up being the best quarterback in this division in a few years. In the next 5 years, I could see it. But around that organization with the history they have, I really hope Josh Harris can turn them around, but there's no guarantee that he's going to be a good owner for them. There's no guarantee that they're going to be able to surround him with the right players. And then on top of all that, we don't know if they're going to be moving or not. They should probably get out of that stadium. That's literally falling apart. And we've heard no plans about them relocating or getting a new stadium. And that stadium has a history, just like MetLife Stadium, of taking players' careers. So worries me a little bit, but definitely minor worries compared to, what Jaden Daniels could be.
I think I'd worry more about Micah Parsons than the turf, but I hear you. All right, let's get to the Cowboys. Okay, you can only keep 2 of CD, Dak Prescott, and Micah Parsons. Who do you pick? Zach, I'll go you first.
Yeah, I think this is a pretty obvious answer for this question. I think you're keeping CD and Micah. I think you can let Dak walk and find a quarterback that can play at a productive enough level to still make the Cowboys a solid overall team. Dak is very impressive. He had a great season last year, but quarterbacks in this league feel very expendable. But when you find a star like Micah Parsons, when you find a star wide receiver like CeeDee Lamb, you want to hold on to those players as long as you can. I feel like when it comes to the others, I feel like when it comes to quarterbacks, you can find and develop quarterbacks pretty much anywhere. For God's sake, Jacoby Brissett is going to be starting in the NFL this year. I think they can find a decent enough quarterback to replace Dak.
I couldn't disagree more. I think you could find a decent enough wide receiver anywhere, and quarterbacks are way harder to come by. I mean, you look at there's 6 decent quarterbacks in the whole NFL that can give you a shot at winning a Super Bowl. CD they got in the draft. There's phenomenal receiver prospects every single year in the draft. There's 6 already in the first round this year. I mean, it's not every year that a great, solid quarterback is in the draft. They were lucky this year that Caleb Williams was great, but there's going to be a lot of classes where there's just no options for them. I would 100%, if I could only keep 2 of CD, Dak, and Micah, I'm 100% taking Dak and Micah and seeing what you can get for CD. If he just walks, that sucks. But I just think it's way easier to replace star wide receiver talent than star quarterback talent. And you might say Dak's not a star quarterback, but I think that he's good enough to get them in contention. And it's way more important of who's throwing the ball than who's catching it. And apparently, I was just reading about this just now. Apparently, the Cowboys have placed talks with CeeDee Lamb on a higher priority than Dak Prescott ahead of the season because apparently CD is holding out of training camp if there's not an extension before the season. So it seems like Dallas might be going CD first anyway, but I just think, you could have Cooper Rush throwing him the ball. They're not going to be winning games. So I just think it has to be Dak and Micah. I would love for them to keep CD. I think he's a top 3 receiver in the NFL now, but I just think that quarterback's way more important.
I kind of agree and disagree with both of you. So this is what I'll say. I'm keeping CD and I'm keeping Micah Parsons because Dak, I think, is an issue. I disagree with Zach when it comes to, you can get anybody to, or you can get and develop other people to play quarterback for you. Absolutely not. In the post-Drew Brees era, I have learned that very clearly. You either have a guy that can win or you don't, and he is not a winner, a Super Bowl winner in the NFL. There's only 2 of those guys potentially in the NFC East, and that is Jalen Hurts and maybe Jaden Daniels if he, ends up proving it. It's not Dak. It's not Danny Dimes. So I'm getting rid of Dak, but I'm understanding that I may be terrible because quarterbacks aren't everywhere. I agree with Jesse that there's only 6 or 7 in the NFL that probably have a legitimate chance of winning a Super Bowl. And it doesn't hurt that probably one of the greatest quarterbacks ever is very young and in the NFL and already has 3. So, but I'm getting rid of Dak in this situation. He's just, I know it. I've seen it already. The tape proves it. He's not going to be a Super Bowl champion. All right. Philadelphia. Will Saquon Barkley be a top 5 fantasy back in the NFL this season? I'll start with you, Eagles man.
Yeah, this is a tough question to answer because I feel like he's right around that 5, 6, 7 range. And the only real question marks that I have about where I would place running backs in fantasy is like, will the Falcons' new look offense feature Bijan Robinson more? It should, obviously, but how much more will that be? And then on top of that, can Kyren Williams sustain his breakout pace? I feel confident in both of those being true. I feel confident that Bijan's going to be better this year. I feel confident that Kyren Williams is going to still have an extremely productive year. And because of those two, I don't think Saquon Barkley is going to end up being a top 10 fantasy. I'm not a top 10. I don't think Saquon Barkley is going to end up being a top 5 fantasy running back. He should still be top 10, but I don't think he's going to be top 5. He's going to be a lower RB1 instead of like your, number 1 guy, top, like week in, week out. I mean, that's clearly, your McCaffreys, your Jonathan Taylors, your Jahmyr Gibbs, your Breece Hall, and if they play up to potential, Bijan, Kyren Williams. So Saquon's right below those guys. I don't think he's much farther than 6 or 7, but I don't think he's top 5.
Yes.
This is I don't think he's going to be top 5 either. I think that the tush push is the only thing that's holding him back from being top 5, and we might see it less because DeAndre Swift is not a power back in the way that Saquon Barkley is, and I actually think that Saquon might have stronger you might have stronger thighs than Jalen Hurts. Like they might, like, I don't know who can squat more than the other one in that room, but honestly, like the tush push really does hurt him because if DeAndre Swift had, 12 more rushing touchdowns than he did last year, like he definitely would have been in the top 5, but it's obviously in the Eagles playbook, even without Jason Kelce after his retirement. But I still think that Bijan, Breece, CMC, Gibbs, Taylor should all finish above him. And then there's a few other wild cards too, like Devon Achane. If he plays a full season, like with the explosiveness that he has and the Miami offense has, he could finish above Saquon. ETN could finish above Saquon. Kyren Williams had like 1,400 yards in 12 games last season. Like if he plays the full season, and I know they have Blake Corum now, but if he plays the full year with a full workload, he could be above Saquon. So the Eagles are also a very cheeky team when it comes to using a lot of different backs. Like we really haven't seen a feature back in that offense since like, I want to say LaShawn McCoy. I mean, like they had DeMarco Murray, but even then he wasn't really like a feature back. They always like to use a couple guys. Maybe you could argue Jay Ajayi was the last feature back for the Eagles, and that was in like 2016. So it's just hard to see. Like I have a hard time imagining Saquon getting like 300 carries in a season or really having enough usage, especially around the goal line. He is a good pass catcher, probably better than DeAndre Swift, but there's just so many mouths to feed on that offense as well that I just don't think that he has a high enough usage in this offense to be top 5. So I would agree with Zach. I think he's 6th or 7th. Like he's probably right there, but I just don't think he's in the top 5.
Y'all are making my job easy today. Usually I have to disagree just on principle, but today I just disagree with you anyway. I think he's top 3, maybe 4. I'll give you 4 at worst. McCaffrey, Bijan, Jahmyr Gibbs are the only running backs I would take above him at this point. Breece Hall is way overrated for me. I need to see him actually do something and stay healthy to draft him as high as they're projecting him. Jonathan Taylor, okay. I think they'll be pretty neck and neck. And then I think Kyren Williams takes a step back. Travis Etienne takes doesn't have an unbelievable season. I think Derrick Henry's starting to slow. I actually really like Saquon for a 3rd or 4th ranked running back because I think he gets a majority of the tush pushes. And for some reason, the Eagles just always fall down at the 1. There's just so many opportunities from the 1-yard line. I have no idea why, but they're always there. And his quads outdo Jalen Hurts' quads, and that's just the deal. All right, the Giants. Can Danny Dimes throw for 4,000 yards knowing he has no discernible running back?
Absolutely not.
No.
Absolutely not.
No.
This is the guy who's never had over 3,300 yards in his career. And yeah, they drafted Malik Neighbors, but I mean, Darren Waller retired because he'd rather do that than play with Daniel Jones for another season. And if you look at the rest of this room, this is like the most like recycling bin room of receivers. They have like Allen Robinson is on the depth chart. Darius Slayton is still there. I mean, Wan'Dale Robinson is probably the most promising guy in this room outside of Neighbors, but absolutely not. Daniel Jones will never throw for 4,000 yards in his career in a season. I think that I'd say he's probably under 3,500. He'll probably get to 3,000, but no shot he's even sniffing 4,000.
Do we really think after watching Hard Knocks that the Giants are smart enough to shift their focus on getting Daniel Jones more passing reps instead of just saying, oh, Singletary's good enough to replace Saquon Barkley? He is absolutely not throwing for 4,000 yards this season. He's never passed. He got just over 3,200 in 2022. That's the most of his career. I could see him getting over 3,000 now. I think 3,000 is a real debate we could have. It's like, will he get over 3,000 yards? But 4,000, absolutely not.
I think 3,500 is easy. I really do, because they're going to be behind in every game, chucking the ball, and Devin Singletary is not going to replace Saquon Barkley in number of touches. So the ball's got to go somewhere. So either Daniel Jones is going to run for 1,200 yards and pass for 3,000, or he's going to have to pass for more. I think it's easily over 3,500, and I think he's got a chance at 4,000 just because this team is going to be so bad in so many ways, and their defense is not going to be able to stand up, so they're going to have to score 35 points to win, and the only way they're going to be able to do that is to chuck the ball. All right, last one. Washington, true or false? Jaden Daniels has a better rookie season than RG3 did. Let me remind you what RG3 did. He had 3,200 yards passing, 20 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, offensive rookie of the year, and lost in the wild card round to the Seahawks. If you remember, he got hurt in that game, and then they lost. So, true or false, Jaden Daniels has a better rookie year than Robert Griffin III. Zach.
My gut's telling me false. I'm going with false on this one. It's not like I'm propping RG3 on this impossible pillar for Jaden Daniels to, get those achievements. Just that I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. First of all, I think it's going to they're still developing that team into what it could be. They're not going to make the playoffs this year, and that's a crazy touchdown to interceptions ratio, especially for a rookie quarterback. Going 4 for 1, basically. I'm not going to say 20 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. That's just 4 to 1. I am not going to have that high of expectations for Jaden Daniels year one. I'm not going to hold him to the standard of RG3. I think he can have a very solid rookie season. I just don't think it's going to be on this level. If RG3 stayed healthy, I mean, who knows what he could have been if he stayed healthy and he never, his leg never got injured. He could have been a dominant force in the NFL for a decade, but we didn't get to see that because of that injury.
Yeah, he had over 800 yards rushing his rookie year as well.
Oh, God. Yeah.
Jesse, over to you.
It would be pretty hard for him to top what RG3 did, especially because RG3 made the playoffs, and there's just no shot that Washington is making the playoffs this season. I think that Jaden Daniels could have more than 20 touchdowns. I think he's definitely going to have more than 5 interceptions, though. I mean, he actually might have 12 fumbles just because Washington's O-line is so bad that he's probably going to get hit so many times. I mean, we talked to a Washington Commanders fan at the NFL draft, and he said you could put prime Tom Brady behind our offensive line, and he would get absolutely demolished because, their quarterbacks are – I think Sam Howell led the league by far in sacks taken last season, and he also led the league in passing yards for most of the season too. He had a lot of yards because they play from behind a lot. So statistically, Jaden Daniels could have a ton of yards and a ton of touchdowns just because they're going to have to pass a lot. not to mention they do have two pretty great receiving backs. I mean, Brian Robinson and Austin Eckler. I mean, they still have Terry McLaurin. They have Jahan Dotson. There's a lot of solid receivers on this team. So statistically, he might. I think, you know what? Statistically, he's going to have a better season than RG3, but absolutely no way are they making the playoffs. And I would be very surprised if he wins Rookie of the Year.
And you didn't even mention Zach Ertz, his tight end.
He's on Washington now?
Yeah, he is.
Oh, my God.
So I do think he's got the ability to throw for over 3,000 yards, and he's going to have to run for his life. So he may end up with 700 or 800 yards rushing. He's not slow. Now, he is slight. So if he gets stung by a safety like he did in the SEC, it's not going to go well for him. But I agree with you. Look, I'm more bullish on what this team can do. I think they'll be 9-8, 8-9, rather than you guys seem that you think they'll win 6 or 7 or maybe even 5. But I don't think there's any way he gets the Offensive Player of the Year. I just think Caleb Williams has so much going for him. Everything is set up for him to be successful. Now you got to stay healthy and all that. But I agree with you that I do think he'll have the stats. I think Jaden Daniels is going to take this team up a serious notch. And I think they end up second in the East, like I said earlier. So let's talk about one of Jaden Daniels' main weapons, Terry McLaurin. So is Terry McLaurin better than Deontay Johnson, Jesse?
100%, yes.
Absolutely, he is.
Yes, this isn't even close. Deontay Johnson must just be our first guess every time we play this. George Pickens.
Yes, I think so. I think that George Pickens has some pretty incredible hands and athleticism, but I think that Terry McLaurin is right there. These two guys are two guys who are insanely talented, trapped on horrible teams with horrible quarterbacks. But I just think that Terry's been doing it. He's at 1,000 yards like every year he's been in the league with terrible quarterbacks. It's Terry.
Terry is better right now, but I could see the conversation changing after this season.
Yeah, I actually hate drafting Terry McLaurin. I try not to do it. This year, I'm running to the podium to grab him because I think he's got an opportunity with a quarterback who can throw the ball to actually do better. And George Pickens does not have that. So give me McLaurin. Michael Pittman.
Wow. I think I'd still lean Terry. I think Pittman's great as well, but I feel really bad for Terry McLaurin. So I'm going to give him the nod.
I don't feel bad for Terry McLaurin. I'm going Michael Pittman here.
I'm going Terry McLaurin just because his quarterback is 10 times better throwing the ball than what's going on in Indy. Drake London.
Really?
Yeah. Can Anthony Richardson throw the ball? Is he accurate at all? Every point he scored last year was because of his running the ball, not throwing the ball. I'm not trying.
He'll be better. He'll be better. I'm very much all in on saying that Richardson's going to have a really good year too. Oh
my God, no. I will not have him on any team. I might have Pittman, but only because I get to a point where
Richardson will definitely be a backup, at least in one of my leagues. He's definitely getting a roster spot.
A backup? He's starting.
No, you won't be able to. Yeah, you won't get it.
Unless you're in like a 4-man league.
We'll see.
Drake London.
Terry.
Yeah, Terry's better.
Yeah, Terry. We don't even have to talk about that. DeAndre Hopkins.
Honestly, at this point in D-Hop's career, I would take Terry over him. I think that Hop, at his prime, it's not even close. It's DeAndre, but at this point, he's getting up there in age. I still think he's very solid, and he's like a vet now, but I would take Terry. I think Terry's entering his prime, and DeAndre's out of it.
Yeah, I mean, this is not a career comparison, so I'm gonna go with Terry as well.
I might take Jahan Dotson over D-Hop this year. I think that's DeAndre Hopkins would have been a great third receiver on this team, or on many teams, but definitely not better than Terry McLaurin. All right, Chris Godwin.
I love Godwin, but he's never been the alpha on his own team behind Mike Evans, and I think I would still put Terry above him.
I don't care if he's the alpha or not. Chris Godwin's the better receiver.
Oh, I'm taking McLaurin over Mike Evans and Chris Godwin this year. I just think he's finally set up with, like Jesse said, he gets 1,000 yards with no one, with the fourth grade quarterback throwing to him. Imagine when he has a real man. All right. Amari Cooper.
This one, I'm going to give it to Amari Cooper. I think that he's severely underrated by a lot of people, and I'm not going to be one of those people. So I'm giving it to Amari.
It's Amari Cooper easily.
This one's tougher for me, just because I don't know what to trust in Deshaun Watson. Let's be real. Amari Cooper woke up last year after Watson went out, when he had Joe Flacco throwing to him.
It's because, what? It's because he was giving him the Paul Crew treatment. He didn't want to have good stats while Deshaun Watson was back there. But once it's Joe Flacco, the people's champion, he was like, all right, 200 yards and 3 touchdowns. Let's go.
I'm going to take Amari Cooper, but I would not bet the house on it. Like, I just don't feel great about it. Devontae Smith.
Wow. I'm giving it to Terry. I'm giving it to Terry. I think if you said, would you rather have A.J. Brown and Terry McLaurin on the other side or A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, I would take Terry.
What are you smoking today? This is
same as every other day, pal.
This is easily Devonta Smith. Easily Devonta Smith.
Give me one reason why.
His hands are some of the best in the NFL. I can't say that about Terry.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, you can. That's not a good reason. I'm taking Devontae Smith. I'm taking Devontae Smith because he's younger. I like his speed a little bit better. But Terry, that's the first one that's been super close, although I did pick Amari, I guess. I'm not happy about that. T. Higgins.
I think that Terry McLaurin does everything better except for being an actually bigger person. I think T. Higgins has the size. I think Terry does everything functionally better than T. Higgins.
This is the closest one I've seen in a little bit on this list. I think I'm leaning T. Higgins. This one's really close, though.
I'm taking Terry McLaurin. I think if that was the choice on the Bengals, McLaurin would be the better number 2. I really like T. Higgins. I really like him this year because it's a contract year, and he probably feels a little disrespected about what the Bengals have been doing. But I'm going McLaurin. Chris Olave.
So we got 2 Buckeyes here. That's tough. I think I would. I'm riding with Terry on this one. I'm not a big Olave believer. I'm giving it to Terry.
I am a big Olave believer. Give me Chris Olave.
I am as well, not just because he's the guy I root for, but his hands are special. His speed is sneaky, and I think if he had the quarterback that McLaurin is going to have this year, it would be pretty electric. Keenan Allen.
Wow. Geez. How old is Keenan Allen? What is he?
I don't know, 46, 47.
He's 32. That's a tough one, honestly. I think I give it to Keenan Allen. I think that even though he's getting up there, if this was like a who would you rather have, I would take Terry, but who's actually better, like skill for skill, I'd give it to Keenan.
Yeah, this feels tougher than I would expect it to be. I'm going with Keenan because I know he's still extremely productive, but in the long term, I'd probably take Terry, but just on paper, who would you have today? I'm going with Keenan Allen.
I think it's so close that I think I got to go with durability as my reason to take McLaurin here. And he has played 51 straight. The last 3 years, he's played every game. And the year before that, 2020, he played 15 games. So, he doesn't miss a lot. Keenan Allen tends to, of late at least, miss some games. I'm going to go McLaurin. DJ Moore.
Wow. Another Bears receiver right after Keenan. I think I might give the edge to DJ Moore on that one.
I don't think this is as close as you're thinking it is, Jesse. I'm also going DJ Moore.
Oh, you think it's not close the DJ way? I think it's not close the other way.
I'm saying I'm also a big believer in DJ Moore. I think year 3 is going to be big for him. I'm excited to see what he does with the Bears. Well, not year 3, but still.
Yeah.
Whatever
DJ Moore's got sneaky good stats for never having a good quarterback. He and McLaurin are alike in that way. So I think you might have swayed me. I think I might go DJ Moore. I don't feel great about it. I feel like McLaurin's right there. And he really, I mean, let's be real, over 1,000 yards almost every season, but his rookie year with nobody throwing to him. No one.
Yeah.
DJ Moore has at least had, some quarterback play. It hasn't been great.
I mean, DJ Moore was like Cam Newton, Kyle Allen, Sam Darnold, Baker Mayfield, Justin Fields up until this
Cam
point.
Newton. So. Cam Newton was what I was thinking.
I can't believe you're considering everyone not named Cam Newton and like a decent enough quarterback. Like, these stats are very impressive considering those names.
Actually,
let's list McLaurin's quarterbacks. You want to go through
the most impressive thing to me actually is DJ Moore's been in the league longer and he's 2 years younger than McLaurin because he came in at 21. Terry McLaurin came in at 24.
Yeah, he's about to be 29. So
dang.
Wow.
So he's a little older than you would think. All right, DK Metcalf.
DK. 100%. It's DK.
Yeah, I'm going with DK Metcalf.
I agree. We can end there on an agreement. I'll take DK as well. All right. NFC East only fantasy draft. All right, here it is. It's the weekly competition. Finally, I get the number 1 pick again in a division that is kind of gross. I guess in my eyes, there's a couple pretty clear first rounders here. But we get 1 quarterback, 1 running back, 2 wide receivers, and a flex, and NFC East only, like we said. So I'm going to start it off. I'm not going to do a lot of long thinking here. I'm just going to go with the fact that this guy doesn't have much competition on his own team for targets. Give me CeeDee Lamb.
All right. I feel like there's a good number of players you could like argue are first rounders on this. It's like based on like, how deep is the position, or like do I just go for the top talent? I'm gonna go with the top talent on the board. Give me AJ Brown.
Wow. Okay. Was not necessarily expecting this, but I guess I'll take it. So I'm gonna take the only quarterback that I feel some type of way about. Give me Jalen Hurts easily. And now after that, the wide receivers do take a bit of a drop. I'm going to take the only running back I feel good about. I'll take Saquon Barkley.
Yeah, I had a feeling you're going to do that. Leaves me with an interesting decision here now that Saquon and Hurts both gone. Could just complete the wide receiver duo, have the best receiving core out of this entire draft, but I'm also kind of just sacrificing my quarterback position at that point. So, you know what? I still am pretty optimistic about Jaden Daniels. I'm sure I'm probably going to end up with him. I'm going to take Devonta Smith. All right. Yeah, I guess
your keyboard's too loud, bro. Let me type.
Yeah, you type. Okay.
All right. So I have the turn here. I'm going to go with Austin Eckler because I think, like you said, the running back options get pretty minimal. I think he'll catch a ton of balls when Jaden Daniels is running for his life. And I'm going to go ahead and, you know what? I'll punt quarterback and let you guys, or let Zach probably pull one on his round. Give me Terry McLaurin. Love these Commanders, baby.
Yeah. Little surprised that Dak Prescott got back to me, but I will take Dak Prescott here.
Okay. So
well, we already told you I think he's the 4th best in the division. So
very interesting. I got a couple options here, but let's go with the rookie sensation Malik Neighbors as one of my wide receivers. I think that's an easy pick. Now I got a wide receiver and a flex left. I'm gonna go with a tight end off the board. Give me Jake Ferguson from the Dallas Cowboys.
Ooh, if you didn't take him there, that was gonna be my pick. Now I have to actually think about this.
Really? I just while you're thinking, I actually thought there was a chance no tight ends would be drafted.
Really?
I think Ferg's going to have a great season. He's going to be the second leading receiver on that team.
Yeah, he's going to get a lot.
That's not saying much.
Ferguson's going to get a lot of
Doesn't
touches.
matter.
Now, I mean, I'm looking at that. I mean, looking at the flex, looking at the running backs available. There's two that I would like decently consider drafting, but it's still very ugly. Jesus, this is just rough. Just for the volume I think he's going to have, give me Darius Slayton at the flex.
Ew! Oh my God!
I know, but
that's a throw. That's a throw.
No, it's brutal. It's brutal outside of what we've already drafted.
There's two good running backs left that you could have had instead of that.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Jaden Daniels as my quarterback. I have to get a quarterback. And then I have my flex position. I like Robinson a lot, but I'm not going to take a fourth commander. It's something I can't do. I have no Eagles, but I also don't love the Eagles that are available here at this point. It's rough. So then I'm thinking Brandon Cooks as a second option with the Cowboys. You got Zeke and Singletary both starting running backs, but gross. Give me Brandon Cooks. We'll take a little flyer with our flex. And
dang.
So I do have to pick between Brian Robinson Jr. and Devin Singletary. I was hoping you'd make
and Zeke.
I'm not taking Zeke. I am not taking Zeke.
Feed him.
Kenneth Gainwell too. Don't forget him.
Yeah, don't forget.
Yeah, seriously. I will take Brian Robinson Jr. here.
Wow, I can't believe neither of you took Devin Singletary after they paid him to be the Saquon replacement.
No, he's not going to do well behind that offensive line. It's not going to be pretty.
All right, so I have to take a receiver here. My options after Brian took Brandon Cooks are very limited. It's between two guys for me. It's between Dotson and one of the Giants. And I don't like either of those options. But you know what? I'm going to go with Wan'Dale Robinson. I think that he's a guy who you could slide into your flex lineup. I think he's going to be better than Slayton. I don't know why you took Slayton.
And you called my pick a throw. I feel oh, my God.
I agree with Jesse on this one.
Wan'Dale Robinson is solid.
Oh. No,
and he's a guy who can get in some jet sweep action. They like to run the ball with him too. I don't feel bad about that.
I'm a lot higher on Dotson than I am on Wan'Dale Robinson.
I was high on Dotson last year, and it cost me a playoff spot. So let us know who you think won. That was absolutely brutal. I think personally, I would give it to Brian, but that was really disgusting.
That was awful.
If it's PPR, it's not even close.
I can't believe I have two Giants receivers on my team.
Well, at least you have the best one.
Yeah, I forgot that I already had.
And the second best one, by the way.
Yeah.
I can't believe 3 Giants receivers got drafted.
Yeah, oh God.
Disgusting. And not Singletary. So there you go.
No other team got 3 receivers drafted, just saying.
Disgusting.
Well,
all right.
Well, I'm to be fair, I was not going to draft Paris Campbell, so
right. No, I agree.
I for a moment there, if he hadn't retired, I would have taken Julio Jones. Jesus.
Yeah.
All right. I got a little grid trivia for us to do today. So let me open her up. Oh, I got to take this brand thing off now. Yep. So NFC East grid trivia. Let's do it using only the teams on the board. Here's the board. We got Eagles, Giants, and 10 plus touchdowns in a season. And then Commanders, Cowboys, and 1,000 yards receiving before 2013. So we want to see how obscure of an answer you can get on this one as well. So,
okay,
let her rip.
All right. The first guy I thought of when I saw Eagles, Commanders, give me Ryan Kerrigan here.
Really? Ryan Kerrigan's the first guy you thought of?
He's the first guy I thought of.
Well, he played his entire career for Washington, and just signed with the Eagles.
He
So
played one season with the Eagles and started in 2 games.
that's what I was gonna say. He played his entire career for Washington,
Yeah.
2 games, and literally 0 stats aside from 3 tackles for the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah,
But
he did absolutely nothing with us, but it's just that like that's the first guy that comes to mind with that, which may sound crazy, but it's true.
You know what? It counts, so I'll give it to you. Ryan Kerrigan. So you got that one off the board.
All right. I'm going to take the New York Giants 1,000 receiving yards before 2013 and give me Mark Bavaro, late 80s tight end.
That is a incredible guess, and he had 1,001 yards in a season in 1986.
Did he only have 1,000 yard season? Awesome.
He only had 1, and he was literally 1 yard over. So that's probably if this were actually on like Pro Football Grid, that would be like a 0.01% hit.
I think it'd be higher with the old heads because he was a really good tight end. Now I would not have guessed that he only had 1,000 yard season, but
and he
only
was over by a yard. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. For that 1K yards and 10 touchdowns, do they have to be the same season or can they be different seasons?
Same season.
Okay. Then I'm going to put the guy that I was thinking, because I don't think he had 10 in the same season. He got 1,000. Eagles, 1,000 receiving yards before 2013. Give me Harold Carmichael.
Madden legend Harold Carmichael is correct. He had in his best season, he had 1,116 yards for the Philadelphia Eagles in 1973. At 6'8", Harold Carmichael is correct. So he actually only had 3,000 yard seasons in his 13-year career. But there you go. Goes to show he's just way better in Madden than he ever was in real life.
Well, he was nobody was throwing for all the crazy yards they're throwing now. So he was one of the top receivers. All right, give me the Giants Cowboys square, and I'm gonna go. This guy was a coach for both, but I'm taking that out. As a player, Jason Garrett.
Absolutely correct. Is Jason Garrett. Nice.
He also was a coach for both of them.
Oh wow,
I like that one.
All right. There's 2 categories I could put this guy in, but I'm gonna go Cowboys 10 plus touchdowns in a season. Give me Miles Austin.
That's a crazy hit. Miles Austin had 11 touchdowns in 2009 on the Cowboys.
Oh man!
He also did play a season for the Eagles, but
I know.
he had 1 touchdown there.
I was thinking about putting him.
So you could have used him for that Eagles Cowboys square, but
I know.
we'll put him for 10 plus touchdowns for the Cowboys.
I was gonna guess Herschel Walker for the Cowboys. Can you just look that up and tell me if that was right?
For which square?
For the one that Zach just filled, 10 plus touchdowns. That was my
Herschel Walker.
But then he took the
Herschel Walker. That would have been correct.
Okay. All right. He
might be correct for a different square on here.
Ooh, did he play for the Eagles?
You tell me.
He might have played for the Eagles. No, I'm gonna let Zach handle that. Give me the Commanders 10 plus touchdowns in a season. And I'm going to go, they had 3 really good receivers in the 80s. Art Monk was one. That's not my guess. Give me Ricky Sanders, the second receiver.
Of course, you're not going to take Art Monk, but Ricky Sanders had 12 touchdowns in 1988 for the Redskins, but for Washington. So, yes, Ricky Sanders is correct with 12 touchdowns in 1988 for Washington.
Mm-hmm. All right, I had to really rack my brain for a sickos pick with Eagles Cowboys. And
I just gave you one on a platter.
I know you did, because Herschel Walker did play for both, but I'm trying to.
He played for 3 teams in this division.
I'm trying to think of like a real sickos pick, and there were a few that came to mind. For a second, I thought maybe I go really obscure with Corey Clement. Maybe I go with Randall Cunningham. Give me Mark Sanchez.
Oh my God, you absolute sicko. Mark Sanchez did play. Wait, sorry. What square?
For Eagles Cowboys.
That is correct, but he also played for Washington.
I know, but we already got that one done.
Yeah, but yes, Mark
Eagles,
Sanchez
Cowboys.
is correct for Eagles Cowboys.
Never
Disgustingly.
a Giant. Was with the wrong New York team.
Yeah, he did play in New York though. So you got 2 squares left.
All right, 1,000 receiving yards before 2013, 10 touchdowns in that same season. Give me Terrell Owens with the Eagles.
Theo, now can you tell me what season?
Okay, so the year he broke his leg in the Super Bowl would have been 04. So I'm guessing 04.
04 is correct. He had 1,200 yards and 14 touchdowns with the Eagles. That was his first year in Philly. He also, by the way, had 1,100 yards and 13 touchdowns on the Cowboys as well. So he did that same stat for multiple teams in this division. So you got one square left.
All right.
He also spiked the ball on the square on the star as a 49er and got waylaid by the.
And he also played. Yeah, so he played a lot against Dallas, and also with Dallas. So
Tio has a pretty cool career path.
All right, so down to our last square.
One last sickos pick to send us home. For the Commanders and the Giants, you're not going to believe it when I tell you this. Colt McCoy.
It's absolutely correct. Colt McCoy did play for both. He played a lot of years for Washington, and he played 1 season on the Giants in 2020 during the COVID year. He played 2 games, and he went 1-1 with 1 touchdown in those games. Colt McCoy. I wish this was a real grid so that we could see what the percentage on that would have been, but that was disgusting. Good job.
Yeah.
That was, it's kind of stupid. The NFC East is always the 4:00 game on Fox, and when I was a kid on CBS, and so you just know them more.
Yeah, this division just feels like a waste of our time, to be honest. But
thanks, guys.
That's okay. So, moving on, we're gonna do some more trivia from this division. So, looking at the running back. So, we'll do 10. So, can you name the top? Wait, what do I want to say for this? Can you name the top 10 players with the most career rushing yards in the NFC East all time?
Ooh. Okay.
I'll go ahead and start with the guy that has the most rushing yards ever, Emmitt Smith.
17,000 in the East, number 1.
And I will start with one of my childhood heroes, LaShawn McCoy.
Number 9 with just under 7,000.
I'll go with one of my childhood heroes, John Riggins.
John Riggins, number 6 with 7,500.
I'll go with one of my childhood enemies, Ezekiel Elliott.
Zeke's number 5, right above him, 8,260.
All right. I'm going to give you a sneaky guess, and it's a player that has history with the St. Louis Cardinals, who also used to be in the NFC East, Otis Anderson.
Number 4 with over 10,000. That's an old head pull right there.
Good pull.
Well, he was the MVP of Super Bowl 25 as well with the Giants.
I knew that. I was just seeing if you knew that.
Thanks. I did.
Good pull. I'm going to go with Tony Dorsett.
Number 2 with over 12,000.
Let's go Giants running back. I'm wondering if Tiki Barber had enough yards. He didn't play for anybody else. Give me Tiki Barber.
Number 3 with over 10,000.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I was worried he didn't have enough yards to qualify.
No, I mean, he played 10 seasons for the Giants, so.
Yeah.
Okay.
He had 17,000 total yards, but only 10 were on the ground.
Right.
Wow. I'm going to go with Clinton Portis.
Clinton Portis is number 8 right there. So you're just missing 7 and 10.
Did we guess Zeke yet?
We did. I guess Zeke.
You did. Okay. Herschel Walker probably didn't play there long enough.
He's number 12.
Early 2000s fantasy MVP Stephen Davis.
Number 13.
Ooh.
Yeah, he played at Carolina too. So
All right, going back to the early 2000s, is there any chance Brian Westbrook is on this list?
Number 11. So you got the three guys closest to this list, but no, it's not him.
what about, did he play in the 90s? Rodney Hampton?
Rodney Hampton's number 7. Yes. With just like 6,900. So you're missing just number 10. And I'm looking at you, Zach.
Ooh.
Uh-oh.
I gotta go. I'm going deep in the bag here. Is it Wilbert Montgomery?
It is Wilbur Montgomery. Nice. 65-38.
When did he play? I remember the name, but was it?
He was in the early 80s.
I think he played in
late 70s, early 80s.
Okay.
I don't remember him. I mean, I remember the name. I don't remember him playing.
I knew the name. I don't know much about him, but I was like, we're going like there was no real dominant Eagles running back in the 90s, so I had to think further back.
All right, so we're going receiving now, and we're gonna do the top 16 because I like how the 4x4 grids look. So that's what we're doing for this one. So, can you name the players with the most receiving yards in the NFC East in the last 10 years?
Yes, we probably can.
Let's see. So this is since July 22nd of 2014, basically.
Okay.
That's what stat.
It's most total yards or most in a season?
Receiving yards total.
Total. Deshaun Jackson.
D-Jax is number 13, and he did that on multiple teams.
Right, he was with the Commanders as well. Or the name redacted, whatever you want to call them.
Yeah.
He's got to be high on this list. Give me Zach Ertz.
He's got to be high, and he's number 1 with almost 5,800, 2 yards shy. But yeah, number 1, Zach Ertz.
Des Bryant.
Des Bryant, number 9.
How about AJ Brown?
AJ Brown sneaks on at number 15 with 29.52 in literally 2 seasons with the Eagles.
CeeDee Lamb.
No, CeeDee. Oh yeah, sorry. Yes, CeeDee Lamb is number 4 with 51.45. I had scrolled down too far.
I was about to say that would really surprise me. If
I scrolled down to see where AJ was, and I couldn't see Lamb anymore. But yeah,
that'd be crazy. How about OBJ?
Number 2.
How about Scary Terry? We already talked about how great he's
number 3 with 52.83.
All right.
You got the top 4 knocked out.
How about Jason Witten?
Jason Witten, number 12.
Now you got me thinking tight ends.
And you know what? You guys have 3 strikes for this because it's easy to get a player right. So
okay, I guess
you haven't had anyone wrong yet, so you're fine. But
we're fine. We're fine.
You got players from all teams still on the board.
Yeah.
Okay.
No. Eagles. I'm trying to think of a little bit older Eagles wide. I guess I should let Zach do that. What about Miles Austin?
Strike 1, Miles Austin.
I think that's a little too far back. You're thinking a little too far back. It's only 10 years.
I feel like he was like just on the cusp though.
No, Miles Austin played more in like the earlier 2000s. His last season in the NFL was 2015. So,
oh wow,
he only played 1 year in this decade.
All right, I'm gonna keep the trend of current Eagles. I already said AJ Brown. I didn't say anyone else on the current Eagles, right? I didn't say anyone else.
Nope.
Okay, I'm gonna guess Dallas Goedert.
Number 8, Dallas Goedert.
Victor Cruz.
You're thinking way too old.
Too old.
That's strike 2, Brian.
Oh boy. Might have to carry.
Oh,
How
I have one.
about
Well, yeah, I have one.
how
There's a good
about
amount of current players on this list still.
yeah? How about Amari Cooper?
Number
God damn it.
6.
That's what I was going to ask. I mean, that's what I was going to guess.
Yeah.
Michael Gallup.
Michael Gallup, number 7, right after him. So you have officially knocked out all of the Cowboys.
Okay. Devonta Smith.
Devontae Smith is on the list, and he's actually above A.J. Brown, 31.78. Although he had an extra season to do it.
This may be the third strike, but Jordan Reed.
Jordan Reed's number 16. He's the last guy on the list. So that is correct.
Wow.
And he is the last Washington Commander on the list as well. So
we're done with
you have
Commanders
Giants. So you actually only have 3 names left, and it's 2 Giants and an Eagle.
Okay. Darius Slayton.
Zach's favorite player, Darius Slayton, is number 10.
How is that possible?
3,300 yards. I mean, he played. Let me tell you in how many seasons that was.
It's definitely
in 5 seasons with the 5 seasons with the Giants. We'll do it. So you're missing number 5. You're missing number 5 and number 14, a Giant and an Eagle. One of them is a current player.
Okay.
But he's actually not on the Giants anymore.
Okay.
See, no, he's too far back. I was circling around Jeremy Maclin, but I think he's too far back.
Ooh, he is too far back.
I'm not gonna lie, I was thinking him too. Oh.
Yeah, he did most of his damage before, because then he went to the Chiefs and
yeah.
Who could the other Giant be? I'm trying to think if they. He's too old.
Okay.
If you have a guess, please feel free to cut me.
Okay, I'm trying to think of the Eagle because I should know it.
You should.
What about? No, he might be too far back too. I was thinking Travis Fulgham.
No,
but he can't have.
He had the most yards in a 4-game stretch, not over the last 10 years.
There's 2 names I'm thinking of, so I can afford to take a strike. So I'm gonna guess first. I'm gonna guess Alshon Jeffrey.
It is not Alshon Jeffrey. That is strike 1 for Zach.
Okay, all right. That is brutal.
Alshon Jeffrey is actually very close, though. Alshon had. He's not actually that close. He's about 600 yards off the list.
What about this? Is posing a question to Zach, not to the host. What about like Jordan Matthews? Was he last 10 years?
Oh my God! Well, that was the guy I was like debating picking between. I think it could be Jordan Matthews.
Is that your guess?
Other than that, it's like Riley Cooper. No. Nelson Aguilar.
No.
Okay. Jordan Matthews is my guess.
Brian, that is correct. Jordan Matthews is number 14. So just number 5 left. That you have a New York Giant with 4,095 yards.
I have a Jordan Matthews jersey in that closet.
I'm glad that you didn't say Nelson Aguilar for that. I really thought you were going to.
Hell no. I mean, at the very least, Jordan Matthews could catch the ball, unlike Aguilar.
What about LSU great Sterling Shepard? I'm talking to Zach.
If you're gonna let me use that, I'll guess. That's a pretty good guess. How about Sterling Shepard?
He clutched it. Sterling Shepard is number 5. Man, you got 2 whiffs off the bat, and then just absolutely
number 5 is
number
insane.
5 is crazy for Sterling Shepard.
I mean, it's not that crazy. 4,000 yards in like 8 years with the Giants.
Yeah, 650 yards a year. Just like plugging along.
Yeah, and he actually didn't play last year like at all.
It doesn't feel like Sterling Shepard's been with the Giants for 8 years. Does that make sense?
2016, yeah. But that's why I said he's not currently a Giant. He's actually on the Bucks, but.
That's weird.
He's yet to play a game outside of a Giants uniform. So nicely done. Now we have only one more question left for today. So here it goes. Can you name every NFC East quarterback to throw for 4,000 yards in a season?
Ooh.
Eli.
Yeah, Eli has the most ever with 49-33, but he did this like 10 times.
Okay. How about Donovan McNabb? 5.
McNabb is actually not. No, McNabb is incorrect.
Wow.
Let me give you the guy.
Hold on. Let me tell you what McNabb's best was. Because I'm actually shocked that he's not on here either. But no, Donovan McNabb in his best season only had he had 39-16. So Donovan McNabb is 84 yards.
Oh, brutal miss.
He wasn't ever a high volume passer guy, though. I mean, he was giving the ball to LaShawn McCoy and whoever else. But all right, this is a guy I was shocked. 3rd overall in passing yards in the NFC East ever. Tony Romo.
Tony Romo is correct with over 4,900. So he's number 3 with the most ever. But yeah, Tony Romo has done this several times, 4 times.
Wow. Let's stick with the Cowboys. How about Dak Prescott?
Dak as well, over 4,900. But he has done this 3 times as well in his career.
What about MVP caliber season out of Carson Wentz?
Carson Wentz is correct. He had just over 4,000, 4,039 for Carson Wentz.
And he didn't even play like 4 games that year. If it's the same year.
Gross.
Yeah, he played no, he played all 16.
Oh, that was a different season then. I was thinking the year they went to the Super Bowl, they got hurt.
Yeah, he actually did this in 2019.
Wow. How about Troy Aikman?
Nope. Troy Aikman never did it.
That's crazy.
What about Big Kirko?
Kirk is number 2 with over 4,900 as well. He actually did this 3 times with Washington. No wonder he got a bag with Minnesota. No, Troy Aikman's best was only 34-45.
He didn't have. They just ran the ball and killed you on defense. Like he just didn't have to throw it.
He did not have to. So you're missing 4 guys.
4 guys.
Now it gets tough.
Yeah.
Yes.
It was already getting tough for me because I haven't gotten
and I'll give you a hint. One guy played for a team that is not in this division anymore.
A Cardinal. Ooh, Neil Lomax.
That's exactly right. Neil Lomax.
I used to love that guy as a kid. Number 15.
Oh, and there's actually never mind.
All right. How about Phil Simms?
Yes, sir. Phil Simms with 4,044 is correct. So you're missing only 2 guys now.
Okay, obscure. I was going to guess Phil Simms.
You have a Giant and a Redskin. Redacted.
What about
the Washington Redacteds would actually be a much better name than what they have going on.
They're just the WFT, the Washington Football Team. What about the Giants went to the Super Bowl against the Ravens in like 2000, and I think it was Kerry Collins.
Gary Collins is correct in 2002. So you're missing just one Washington player now. Last guy on the list in the 80s.
Is it Joe Theismann? Joe Theismann?
It is not Joe Theismann.
Doug Williams?
It's not Doug Williams.
Ooh, I think I know then.
Well, do you want to give Zach one more chance to guess a 1980s Washington quarterback? Or
I actually do. I'm really interested in who you would guess. There were only 3 of them, and we guessed 2.
Yeah, but that also requires me to know my Washington quarterbacks.
You either do or you don't.
I think it's Mark Ripien. Ripien? I don't even know how to say his last name.
90s. He was
Nope.
90s.
Dang it!
Come on, Zach.
It's the guy that got benched for Doug Williams. His name was Jay Schrader.
Jay Schrader. Number 15 is correct. So, or not number 15. Jay Schrader is correct. He's the last guy on the list. He was ranked 15th on the list here. But yes, 4,109 yards for Jay Schrader. That's it.
That guy was
disgusting.
pissed. I've never seen him so pissed. A person so pissed to win the Super Bowl. Because he got benched,
Boy, am I glad that Brian is here for these old ass passing questions, because
that's not even that old.
1986 was still like 38 years ago. So
I know, but it's not like, I mean, if you had to pull sometimes we do NBA trivia and I'm like, look, I wasn't alive in the 60s. So
yeah, it's like Bob Cousy's the answer or something. So
yeah.
That's all. Yeah. That's all she wrote.
All right.
That was good. That ended up being more entertaining than I thought it would be when we started making the outline. I was like, oh, the NFC East, great.
Yeah, well, thankfully, thankfully there's a few interesting facts about it. Most of them happened decades ago. So that's why.
Well, look, and Zach, I mean, no pressure this year, but if you guys don't win, if the Eagles don't win this division, it's going to be really bad dealing with you week to week.
Oh,
this
yeah,
division is terrible.
If we don't win,
and if they do, it's also going to be really bad dealing with him week to week.
Yeah, but we could at least say, oh, who are you beating? You're in the NFC East. You got nobody.
Okay. Well, if we don't win the NFC East, we're going to have a new head coach next year. So that's pretty obvious.
Yeah, probably so. You almost had one anyway.
I know.
All right, cool. Where are we back with? Which division are we going tomorrow?
We got one of the Norths.
One of the Norths, either the AFC North or the NFC North. Who sees? I think we should save the AFC North for last. That's a pretty legit stacked situation.
So is the NFC North.
No, it's not bad. It's not bad.
I think they're the two best divisions in football left. So
yeah, no doubt. It's all in the North. We the North, and that's it.